Good morning. This is the Great Basin Fire Potential Briefing for this Tuesday, September 29th. And we have no significant fire weather impacts in terms of critical fire weather conditions. The text on the right, we do have showers expected over much of western Nevada as well as into Idaho and northern Utah by Wednesday and especially into Thursday, remaining seasonable or a little cooler than normal through the weekend, and any warming and drying will have to wait until early next week. And during the past 24 hours, on the left, we had some light to locally moderate shower activity, confined mainly to far southeastern Idaho, eastern Utah near the Uintas, and up into parts of the mountainous terrain of western Wyoming. In terms of lightning on the left, a few dozen strikes up in the Uintas, also a handful of strikes further south across the mountains of south central Utah. Otherwise, most of the lightning was further to the east. And in terms of observed precipitation on the left, not much at all over the past 7 days, except for some of the higher terrain across Utah and parts of southeastern Idaho. On the left tells a bigger story over the past 30 days. Who has gotten it? Mountains of Idaho. This first shade of green, anywhere from a half inch to the areas in yellow are 1 to 2 inches of rainfall and some higher elevation snowfall. Of particular interest is this unshaded area across the Sierra Front and parts of central and western Nevada that have had little to no precipitation over the past 30 days. And Great Basin fire activity has been minimal. Looking at initial attack, the small red circles, just 3 areas up near the Idaho-Utah border and across parts of southwestern Utah. These existing fires in yellow are the ones that have been ongoing for the last several weeks, mostly in mop-up stage. We'll look at the upper level map superimposed on our water vapor imagery. Shows high pressure that was once over us with much above normal temperatures now shrinking back southwards towards the Baja region. So we're kind of in between low pressure that's retreating and an approaching low pressure center off the California coast. Its counterclockwise flow already pumping in some areas of moisture streaming through California into much of Nevada and into Utah. This will be our next weather maker over the next few days. Looking at today's significant fire potential, we do see that quite a bit of western Nevada is in that critically dry area. Keep in mind this is a part of the region that we spoke of before having little to no rainfall over the past 30 days. Otherwise, even some of our wetter areas up in southern Idaho have dried out over the past week or so, now are in the moderately dry category. And looking for this afternoon, Tuesday, on the left, relative humidity. See our driest areas across western Nevada, humidity level somewhere around 14-13%. Not as bad as the 8-9% levels we had a few days ago. A bit higher as you go into Utah, humidity levels more in the 20 to 25% range. And on the right-hand side for wind gusts this afternoon, some of the higher terrain of the Humboldt-Toyabe area up in the central Nevada mountainous area. You see some gusts in this sky blue in the 25 to 30 mile an hour range. Also some gusty winds up in the northern Wasatch and Uintas and heading up into parts of the mountainous areas of western Wyoming. Now for tomorrow, Wednesday, on the left, we see that trough of low pressure with that stream of higher humidity in the mid to upper levels of the atmosphere in the green, expanding across parts of Idaho. This is probably where we will see showers developing later tomorrow afternoon. On the dryness level on the right, you see that some of the areas that were critically dry in the brown along the Sierra Front have gone yellow with that higher humidity, maybe some spotty drizzle. Otherwise, showers starting to pick up across parts of southern and central Idaho. Now for Thursday, we see that trough of low pressure moves a bit further inland. A lot of higher humidity levels, lots of clouds and showers in the green here across western Nevada, up into a good portion of Idaho. There'll be several hours of steady light to locally moderate showers going on. Still a bit drier across our southern and eastern areas. And on the right, you can see that a lot of the dryness levels have gone into the green in some of our driest areas because of some of that spotty precipitation. On Wednesday, we see that humidity levels still driest in our western areas, but not critically dry, not towards 10%, mostly around 15%, and again a bit higher as you go towards areas further to the east where percentages are more in the 25 to 30%. And on the right, you can see that the wind gusts of over 20 or 25 miles per hour in that light blue start overspreading a larger area and getting into parts of southwestern Utah as well. Now, looking at Thursday, we notice that the humidity levels are much, much higher across parts of the western and central Nevada, and especially up into Idaho, where it'll be cloudy and showery for much of the day. Our driest humidities down in the low to mid teens, confined to far southern Nevada and southern Utah. And on the right, you can see those winds picking up, and that's one concern we'll probably have to keep an eye on. Some of these stronger wind gusts, these greenish and yellow shades, suggest wind gusts of 30 to 35 miles per hour, occurring in areas that still have fairly low humidity. And looking further down the road, starting with Friday, we see that trough of low pressure exits to the east of us, taking the clouds and showers into Wyoming and Colorado. Still have high pressure located off to our west. We're kind of in between systems, and you can see that overall significant moistening occurring across Utah, all of Idaho, and areas in Nevada that were once critically dry in the brown are now in the moderately dry yellow category. So at this point, we have no critically dry areas expected. Now, as we go into Saturday, we look on the left and another trough of low pressure starts getting carved out across the Great Basin and the northern Rockies as more energy drops down out of central Canada. You can see this area of green. This is another area of cloud cover and some spotty precipitation that starts moving down from north to south. And you can see again our moisture levels are fairly moist in all of our regions. And on Sunday, that moisture establishes itself across much of the eastern half of our Idaho zones, all of Utah and far eastern Nevada, with clouds, some spotty showers, overall high humidity. Our driest areas will be across far western portions of Nevada, where they will probably see mostly sunny skies and very little in the way of precipitation. But the strong high pressure ridge, which we originally a few days ago thought would be influencing us with more warmth, will stay confined more to the immediate west coast. And on the right, our moisture levels continue to go trending in a more moist direction. Here's the 5-day NOAA Weather Prediction Center precipitation forecast and across our region. You can see that of particular interest is this strip of green across some of our driest areas of the Sierra Front up across central and northern Nevada. This third shade of green here is anywhere from a quarter to a half inch, with localized pockets of almost 7/10 of an inch of rainfall. Also getting wet up into Idaho as well, a quarter to a half inch of rain in the mountainous areas. Also getting into the northern Wasatch as well. So some of our areas that still have some borderline dry fuels will see some good precipitation over the next few days. Further off to the right, a monster east coast storm with lots of flooding potential, 3 to 6 inches of rainfall all the way from the Carolinas up through Maine. A major event, not related to us directly, but something worth watching on the national scale. I'll look at our current fuel conditions at ERC levels in terms of percentiles. You can see the recent warm dry spell has pushed some of our stations here in the Wasatch area in that orange or 80th to 89th percentile, given by this key on the right. Otherwise, many areas in the Sierra Front still in that 70 to 79th percentile, as are some stations up in Idaho as well, which have dried out significantly over some of that wet weather that we had there about 2 weeks ago. Otherwise, still continuing very moist across parts of southern Utah, going down towards northern Arizona and southern Nevada. If we take a closer look at some of our fuels and focus on some of our driest areas, across parts of the mountainous areas just south of the Uintas, up in the bookshelf areas, you can see that ERCs, given by this chart up here, are pushing right up against the 80th percentile and very close to record levels as well, much, much higher than normal, given by this grayish line. And our other area of concern for a while has been out towards the Sierra Front areas, and looking at our zone 7, you can see that the ERCs again are tickling the 80th percentile and are right up near our driest, most critical levels of the year so far. Here is the Climate Prediction Center NOAA 8 to 14-day outlook. Temperature on the left, much warmer and drier than normal for all of our area, especially the further west you go. Right along the Sierra Front is the maximum. And looking at precipitation during that time period, also very dry in some of our areas that are currently dry across far western and northwestern Nevada. Near normal elsewhere, a bit more moist than normal towards the Four Corners. We will see if the shower activity that we get in some of our driest areas the next few days renders this irrelevant. But if we miss out on the showers, then there'll still be some borderline critical dryness in some of our areas, especially in Nevada, as we go through the next 2 weeks. And this concludes our briefing. Have a safe day. Our next briefing will be tomorrow, Wednesday, September 30th.